Hello, freaks, geeks, degenerates, basement dwellers, and, well, you fantastic scrufftards. Welcome to the war zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Skruffytalez. And we are gonna take a look at Kupiansk, where Ukraine, yes indeed, has launched a counterattack trying to outflank and isolate a whole bunch of Russians. And when we've done that, we're gonna jump down to Pokrovsk. We're gonna take a look at some Russian games, and then we're gonna finish off with exploring what happened with the air assault at Pokrovsk, the narrative, and who reported on it first, and when did the Russians pick up on it, to try and figure out if the Russians might be lying about destroying those elite operators. So let's take a look. Right, so we're gonna start off with Kupiansk. We talked about this a day or two ago when the rumors started surfacing that there was an attack. We've updated in the past 24 hours as news dropped in, and all the Vatniks went, it's all bullshit. But now it seems to have been confirmed. I'm a bit late to the game. I was busy last night when everyone else was updating. Because the video I did yesterday morning, I was mentioning this push and said it was only rumors but nothing confirmed. Then during the day it was of course confirmed. So here I am, a bit late to the game here, but anyway, Andrew Perpetua, first of all, we're seeing Russian shelling within territory that the Russians claim is under their control. So that's interesting. You even have drone strikes in the center here, and you can see here quite clearly, evidently, Ukraine's trying to push in this way as well to cut off the Russians within the city. Right here where they have their access point. And on top of that, we also have evidence that they're pushing in to the north through Radkivka towards Hulubivka if we move over to Mayakovsk 73. Here you can see, here you go, the Russian shelling in the center of town. You also have Ukrainian drone strikes dealing with some Russians here. So quite clearly, Ukraine is pushing in here, trying to cut off the Russians in the center. And then up north, we can see the Ukrainians pushing out of Kindrashivka towards Hulubivka. And the way I understand it is that we know there was a push earlier with a couple of armored vehicles, transports, and they got schwacked by Russian drones, but the dismounts survived and they managed to entrench themselves, and Ukraine then pushed in reinforcements to link up with these dismounts. They strengthened their positions and have since then been able to push through those positions to gain ground further still, and that is what we're seeing here now with this latest push towards Hulubivka. You can see here's the river Oskil, and the Ukrainians are apparently in this farm or whatever this is, contesting it at least. So the Russians don't have all that much territory left to maneuver in. Although that said, these fields weren't exactly where the Russians were going to maneuver. They were going to move down here all along, because here you have cover with vegetation, and you have some roads that you can utilize to quickly move through Hulubivka, partially in cover all the way down to town, all the way down to Kupiansk. So we'll see if Ukraine can manage to push all the way over to Hulubivka in the end. Has ISW updated? I don't know. Let's take a look. I'm not sure if ISW has updated here yet. No. Well, yes. Sort of. They have the Ukrainian advance into the center of town, at least, south of Radkivka, but nothing about the push towards Hulubivka here, according to ISW. But you can see here they have highlighted the Ukrainian push into the center of town, trying to isolate the Russians within the city, but nothing up here concerning the push towards Hulubivka. But this is the situation at the moment, at least. We'll see if Ukraine can pull something off. Rumors online credible? I don't know. Seems to suggest that the reason they're able to do this is because the fighting at Pokrovsk is drawing so much of Russian resources that Russia is now also moving assets away from Kupiansk down to Pokrovsk, and this has opened up an opportunity for the Ukrainians to exploit in pushing in through weakened Russian lines, defensive lines up and around Kindrashivka, allowing them to exploit this weakness to make a push towards Hulubivka. So we'll see how that goes. The Ukrainians seems to be somewhat confident. They report that Russia has not had any gains, made any headway here in the last couple of days, and now Ukraine is launching this counterattack. So according to the Ukrainians, the situation looks fairly good at the moment. They stand a chance of reaching Hulubivka, and they might isolate and begin hunting down Russians within the city itself. We'll see how all of this plays out in the week to come. A quick look at Pokrovsk. The main news was, of course, Kupiansk, but we're going to take a quick look at the Pokrovsk area. Russia is expanding contested territory here. Within Mirnorad, you have Russians operating over here. I think they've moved out of Balahan and came in this way. We've had Russians before in this mining facility or factory or whatever it is, but I don't think that was a proper push by the Russians. I think that those might have been leftovers from the failed assault along the highway or the main road down here. But I think this is an indication that Russia is moving down through here, north of whatever this is, and reaching town in here, infiltrating town over here. Within Pokrovsk, stuff is happening. Russia is infiltrating more sections of the city north of the railroad, mainly over here. And multiple mappers are now in agreement that Russia has made a push up here towards this part here, skirting the high-rise buildings and actually entering these apartment buildings here at the edge of the high-rise belt. So we'll see if Russia can make something out of it, or if Ukraine has something up their sleeve to counter this push here. But that's about it. Now we're going to address the air assault that took place last week. Apparently they landed here and infiltrated town. It's a bit unclear if it happened here, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure what they based that on. But as we all know, the pro-Russians, the Vatniks, they are convinced that this was a failed air assault and that the Russians killed everyone on day one. So let's explore a bit the turn of events here, what took place with this air assault. Now, this is extremely important to remember. Reuters was the first source to talk about this air assault. No one else mentioned it before Reuters brought it up. Not the Russians, not the Ukrainians, no one. Reuters was the first source that this took place at all, right? And they did so on October 31st. Here we go, 11:57 p.m. Right? Ukraine lands special forces in embattled Pokrovsk, sources say, and those sources provided Reuters with this video. A still image taken from a video released on Friday and shared with Reuters by a Ukrainian military source. And this is interesting. Said to show a helicopter and troops deployed in eastern city of Pokrovsk. That must mean that the city itself is in the east of Ukraine, right? Not the eastern parts of the city. Right, so anyway, so here you go. So Ukraine shared this video with Reuters, and Reuters was the first outlet that talked about it and highlighted it. And I think it's interesting because let's let's see here if we can find it. Scrolling down. Yeah, take a look at this. Ukrainian special forces landed in Black Hawk helicopters a few days ago. Right? Which makes perfect sense. Right? Reuters was not reporting on this on the day it happened. They reported on it a couple of days after the fact, right? So the air assault happened a couple of days before the 31st of October. And take a look what happens here. Russia's defense ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the Ukrainian operation. So when Reuters learned of this, they asked Russia what they had to say about it all. And Russia had nothing to say. So this is how the world and everyone else learned that this was happening. Ukrainian sources, I should say, talked to Reuters and released the video of an event that took place days before October 31st. Okay, let's keep this in mind. So I asked AI to help out with this. So I asked AI, who was first to report that Ukraine's GRU landed with helicopters at Pokrovsk, and when did we see Russian sources mention this event? The first widely published account came from Reuters, October 31st. Right? Russian official pro-Kremlin sources, the defense ministry, state channels, and Telegram accounts publicly claimed they had thwarted the landing and killed the 11 personnel on November 1st. What? So, Reuters writes an article about an event that took place days before October 31st. Apparently no one knows about this. And then asks the Russians, what do you know? And then a day after that, the Russian narrative kicks in to full gear. And all of a sudden we see all the videos of Russian drones hunting down these elite Ukrainian operators. And there are even claims that Russia destroyed the helicopters. Now, if Russia did this, wouldn't they have released all that footage, all that evidence, even a video of them destroying the helicopter or a smoking wreck of a helicopter, and something days before October 31st? Why did Russia wait to November 1st after Reuters had asked them and alerted them that this had happened? Interesting, right? So, quite clearly, the Russian narrative is complete fucking bullshit. The Ukrainian elite operators entered Pokrovsk without Russian high command knowing about it. Made a successful air assault and entered the city and started hunting down deep reconnaissance groups that more than likely were ambushing logistics moving into town after having snuck past the Russian drone screen, right? And when the Russians learned that this was the case, that this has happened, then they started with the bullshit factory, spitting out a number of videos that they claimed had indeed destroyed the Ukrainians on day one, and they had even destroyed the helicopter as it was trying to land. So, the Russians are quite clearly lying about this. And the Vatniks are so goddamn stupid that they actually believe this bullshit. Fucking incredible. Yeah, that's gonna have to be it. I hope you found it interesting. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go po marsh, Ukraine, and give them hell.